Hey, everybody. um, it's me. You know me. Goddamn it, me. um, I'm back to keep rapping. You start talking again. Start, you know, as the scarecrow says. What does he says when he's talking to Dorothy? What does he say? He says something like, "Well, how?" No, she says something like, "How can you speak if you don't have a brain?" And then he says, "I don't know, but there's an awful lot of people without brains doing an awful lot of talking. So I figure, might as well." Yeah, I. This is my contribution to the world. No, I'm here to talk about, rap about the most awesome band in the whole wide world. The Beatles. Yes, indeed. I love these friggin' bands since I first listened to them. No, they're cool. They're cool. Um, if you haven't, and I'm not getting paid by Apple, they should pay me something, right? David, my buddy David Salcedo, he's doing a show for Apple. I'm gonna tell him, to pay me. um, no, it's because I'm doing it for the love of the Beatles. This is just a band that unleashed rock and roll all over the world. Again, this is something I really need to talk to you about, Americans. Yes, people who are born in the United States of America. What the hell? It always takes a foreigner to show you how awesome you are. Yes, rock and roll. Rock and roll is American, just like jazz, blues, country, bluegrass, and all these wonderful styles. They're American. You all should be proud of it, honestly, because it takes a band like the Beatles, to kind of say, yeah, we think you're cool. We love everything American. Me myself as an immigrant, everything American was just something else. Since I witnessed the 1984 Olympics, is everything. I love American. Yeah, it's wonderful, and I hear the Beatles. They grew up listening to Elvis, to Chuck Berry. Just all these. I mean, the Motown bands, the Motown artists. I mean, they were just downloading all this stuff when they came to the United States. In 1964. They were they were asking, shit. I don't want to listen to my stuff. Let me listen to some Motown. Let me listen to some, Ray Charles or something. They were in love with American music, and look what they did. It's this country's. I live in the United States. That's why I'm saying this country. This country is so beautiful, and it is so rich, not in money, and magic. It makes the whole damn world go round and round. I mean, the Japanese have gotten that far technologically because they want to be like the Americans. They love American over there. See the kids? They digest American every day and they love it. They have clubs. The subculture over there is wonderful. They'll be walking down the street looking like James Dean and stuff like that. Peggy Sue and whatnot. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of the I guess the American spectrum. It's just wonderful. So back to the Beatles, again, playing that rock and roll, just again, inspiring so many kids then and now to start their own band. It's like, we could do this. We can do this. I mean, it's uncountable the amount of bands and an artist that decided, I want to do that too. Once they saw the Beatles. And you know, funny thing is, John Lennon thought the same thing when he saw Elvis. In fact, I don't know if you guys seen that movie, Nowhere Boy. He's talking to his mom and saying, "Oh my God, why couldn't God just make me Elvis?" And she goes, "Because he was saving you for John." You know, it's just, it's, you know, it's, we have to have people to look up to. And I know right now I'm gonna sound like a fanboy, the biggest fanboy in the world, but you know, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, this band has inspired me to do so many things in music, so many things, and you know, just being artistic. They and I think it's because they were just such a kickback bunch of guys that it's kind of like, wow, you don't have to be you know, like they say over there, you know, a BBC kind of guy, you know, to make it. You know, is someone from the barrio could do it. You know, as John Lennon used to put it, a working class hero. That's something to be. Yeah, I mean, nowadays you see it a lot. All these working class heroes. In fact, you know what I think? I think that this last pandemic, aside from all the horrible things that it brought, the silver lining here is that it snapped the button in the back of people's heads and said, "What the hell am I doing with my life? I gotta do something with better, do it differently." I you know, they found themselves in this position where, like, I could start over, and I could do it right this time. I could actually take my time. I could probably, you know, and dreams started to not only materialize but also, or manifest, but also they were being triggered. A lot of the times when, you know, you might be saying, you know, Pancho, you know, F you, you know, I lost my job. Yeah, but maybe you were meant to lose the job so you could find the job of your dreams, or maybe go after your dreams. You're listening to somebody who literally follow his dreams and he's living them. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not. This is not to, you know, because now we live in a society where it's like, look at my things, look at my shiny things and stuff like that. I never talk about this stuff, but I have to speak about it right now because there's a lot of people out there that are looking at the Beatles and going, "Wow, I could do that." Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And the secret here is, if you want to do this, do it. But never listen to anybody else's opinion about your dream. In fact, don't tell anybody about your dream. Your dream is full of energy. It's like a big bubble. You know, you heard the expression, burst your bubble. You don't want anybody to be bursting your bubble, because they poke holes into that dream, and it starts to deflate, and you start losing momentum. And literally, you could literally be held back for as long as it takes for you to, you know, snap out of it. But sometimes it doesn't happen. And you go, but it's almost like the creator is looking at you going, tick tock, when are you going to do what you were meant to do? When? You came onto this world, you had some gifts, some skills. You didn't know how you were able to, why you were driven to them, why you had them or why you were so good at it. But let me ask you something. Why did you stop? Why did you stop expressing those skills, those affinities, those dreams you had? Somebody burned you. I'm just not going to wait for the answer, obviously, because you're not there to answer. I'm here answering myself. Somebody burned you, and they just kept putting those things, those thoughts, those feelings away until they were buried, until you automatically would say or choose not to think about them. In fact, they were not there to enforce that law that all of a sudden was placed upon you. In fact, you became the enforcer yourself. And you told yourself, why the hell dream? This is where I'm at. This is life. Life is shit. Another day, another dollar. Same old bullshit, just different day. You see what I'm getting at? These little phrases that all decrepit, unhappy bastards always share with the younger generations. And we as good people, good kids, we want to listen to this because we figure it's wisdom. I want to call bullshit to all of that. I usually don't want to curse in my videos, but this is, it's a plain and simple. It's bullshit. It's just misery loves company. The Beatles, they heard so much crap. They were denied. It's not like they just walked in. By 1964, they had been playing already for what? Since 1957? That's 6-7 years, no, that's more than that. Anyway, the point is that it took time. They didn't just say, I want this. Oh, I didn't get it. I'm going on and getting another job, driving down Penny Lane, as John said. He said, I'm not going to do that. That was security for people in those days. And still is in these days. Oh, I'd just rather get something like that. Great. It's not going to last. You're going to be flippin' miserable. This is why now with the Great Resignation, it happened because it needed to happen. A lot of these things are happening because they were scheduled to happen. The reason why man or humankind needs to elevate, they need to stop surviving and they need to start becoming co-creators. What does that mean, Pancho? It just means that you need to start talking to God or the creator or the universe or the all, however you refer to your creator, who you think is your creator, your spirit, your Holy Spirit, whoever you think it is, Buddha, whoever. It's all those roads lead to the same place. So let's not be fighting about, my team is better than yours, or, because we wear these kinds of uniforms. Football is football. Just play it. Don't hate each other over what team you guys are in. It's the same thing. Excuse me for this slurping. Anywho, I got off track. What the hell was I talking about? Anyway, yes. So you got to get in touch with the invisible part of, I don't want to call it creation because that kind of points one way, but all of the everybody, everything, you need to start communicating. I want you to just, at one point, if you have some time, if not, make some time and quiet down, turn everything off. I know I've heard this statement, turn everything off, a long time, like 20 years ago, from Carlos Santana. Not personally. He was speaking in an interview and said, turn everything off. You'll be surprised while you're here after a few minutes of silence. Silence as Wayne Dyer once said, silence is literally God, or the Creator, or the all, the Great Spirit. That neutrality, that peace, where you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to try so hard. Part of the reason why the Beatles were so successful is that at one point they stopped giving a peanut what anybody thought, and they just became co-creators. Where do you think those songs came from? They didn't come from their brains. They were delivered to them. And they, as good expressors of life, as vessels as we all are, as good as they were, they just funnel that information right to us. So any kind of music, any kind of art, any kind of expressive material is going to have that print behind it. Just like all of nature, just like flowers, just like trees, they have that signature behind it. A lot of the times it's a hexagon. But there's many signs that life is here. And that life, that's sacred. That runs through us all. And we funnel it as service. These guys literally are servicing humankind. Paul McCartney, this guy is literally doing God's work. Is making people happy. That's why he does it. John always got mad at Paul for, always, singing silly love songs, And Paul was always the idea of what's wrong with that? I'd like to know. So here I go again. So I love that. I love that because Ray Charles thought the same way. And guess who else? A beautiful man, Louis Armstrong. He thought, I have this gift. God gave me this gift to make people happy. So I'm gonna. I think it was Picasso too that said that once you find your purpose, you're meant to give it away. Give it away. Not to be, not for the bitches, not for the money, not for all that shit. It is so annoying and tiring that people are doing that these days. It's just so, it's the superficialities. They're so, what's the word, vain, that it lacks. It's like they say in India, something they say. I think there's a phrase they say in India, that a corpse, no matter how you dress it up, is still lifeless. So when you're missing that authenticity, that enthusiasm, enthused from having the spirit within you, when you're just being shallow, forget about it. That enthusiasm, that spirit is not in there. So then you become a shell, something plastic. And when I can identify somebody plastic right away because of how much they're pretending to appear a certain way. They're trying too hard. You see? So I don't hear that. I don't feel it. I don't see that. There's no ringing anywhere in the vicinity of being close to that authenticity, to that force. They're not being authentic. They're not being honest. And for the life of me, I don't understand how somebody can be so, oblivious of these things that it could actually want to follow some of these people and admire them and things like that. But that's beside the point. It's a lot of it is, that's the point, because when you get the vibrations of the Beatles music, a lot of it just makes you happy. John, even, as sometimes as dark as he would get, I guess having all those four guys, being able to paint, because I see these things like songs, are like paintings, right? And every member in the band has a brush, and they get to do a few strokes here and there, to kind of make this whole picture. Just it's the same when you're making a movie, when you're making a TV show. It's always teamwork. So right now, being selfish, I don't get it. I don't be to being so self-absorbed. I don't get it, because it's like a Betamax. They still make you. It's like, holy crap, man! Evolve, mother. Anywho, again, going back to this band, the this first episode that is on Apple TV is just again, I suggest you watch it. It's uh, one of those things where, again, you get the real story years later, like decades later. So that, it reminds me of something that it's important, right now, these days, where lies and just gossip is being flicked and flown around all over the airways. You can't that and people love this stuff, just clicking on this stuff. But the point is that a lot of reputations are being tarnished for no reason, just for the purpose of just entertainment. And I've heard so much crap about the Beatles as well, and I remember watching the Let It Be sessions, the footage of the Let It Be sessions, and my brother Beto Cardena, Robert Cardena, I think that's what he goes for. By, we used to talk, about how unhappy they always looked, and it's like, oh yeah, because it was almost over, so of course there was it was very sour time in the opinion that we formed by the footage that we saw. You know, because that footage was literally confiscated, if you will, by all the people who had money involved in this thing that wanted to make money off of it. It's like the movie Game of Death with Bruce Lee. They just grabbed his footage and they just made it into this crappy, stupid ass movie. Don't watch it. Watch the lost footage, and in the, I think it's it's a documentary, a Bruce Lee documentary. That you can check it out, and you see the real footage, and the idea, the original idea, what he really wanted to show in those fight scenes. Same thing with this documentary. Like I posted something on Facebook saying something like, "God save Peter Jackson," because he fixed it. He showed us, hey, these guys were just the same four guys having fun making music. Yes, they had a little bit more worries and stuff like that, but during the documentary, you can see there's instances where Paul, he's trying to be not the bossy one, because again he would come off bossy, but because they needed structure, and they make a point out of that, and they about saying everything changed after Mr. Epstein left. He passed away. And they did make a point that, hey, he had us organized. Paul was saying, we need structure. And that's what Paul was trying to do. And, I think that ever since Mr. Epstein passed away, Paul kind of had to be the leader there. Just because nobody else will. I mean, John, seriously. I mean, John always wanted to be the leader because he just wanted to do whatever he wanted. That was his temperament. He's like, he's guy with OCD or something like that. He had a lot of energy. But, and then George and then Ringo, I mean, somebody had to take charge, right? So, anyway, so you got Paul trying to manage things, but the same thing is the same dynamics, though. It's just four guys having fun playing music. But again, the idea that we had, it was erroneous. It was the wrong idea because of what we were fed. Because that's all there, as a Beatle fan, you're just trying to absorb and digest any kind of documentary you can find. And you know that always when you reach this point in the story of the Beatles is that, oh, okay, here we go. We're nearing the end. When things get sour and they start fighting and Yoko's there, it's just all this negativity. There you go. There you go. That's it. And in this documentary, in this first part, you see that there's no negativity. They're just four guys having fun. And in certain instances, they bump heads. But you know what happens? It's like, okay, let's move on. And they go and start playing, and it's a little awkward to get going, but eventually they're back, again, playing music, just make it about the music, and just moving on and just working. It was beautiful to see because then you start watching and you start, again, it changed my idea about how they interacted and if they were really that sour at that point. They had a lot in their minds, that's for sure. I mean, you can, like I said, when you watch it, you'll see that there was a lot of preoccupations. There was certain people that, if Mr. Brian Epstein would have been there, he would have been handling it, right? But instead, they're talking to Paul, and they're talking to Paul, and they're talking to Paul. And Paul is like, okay, all right, oh, great, that's great. Mm-hmm. And, they got to start playing music. They got to start working on these songs because, they have to learn a certain amount of songs before they release them. And they got to do a big concert. And they want, everything is just building up right now. So they don't have any idea how this thing is going to end up, but they know that they have to come up with songs. So as they're trying to get going, this guy is still talking to Paul. And again, my question is, well, why is he talking to Paul? Well, it's obvious that out of the four, he's the one who's actually the more responsible one, if you will. The one that is actually, he looks like the leader. He's the one who's always, handling the rehearsals and, who and what plays what at what. And it's amazing watching him work. It's him and oh God, I can't think of his name right now. I can't believe it. Of the Beach Boys, Brian. This is gonna bug me. Anyway, they were head to head when it came to creativity during that time. And because they were both really competitive. But I mean, again, these were musical geniuses. I mean, what these two guys did during the 60s was incredible. Okay, John Lennon was in there doing his thing, but to me, it was Paul McCartney, Brian Wilson, and that was a third, Bob Dylan. I mean, these men were writing amazing lyrics, amazing music. I mean, Bob Dylan, honestly, that guitar playing, you can in the documentary you hear George Harrison playing a Bob Dylan song. And before he starts singing, singing the song, I hear the guitar playing, right? And I'm like, well, that sounds like Dylan. Sure enough, it was Dylan. And the arpeggios, it's just so beautiful, the way Bob Dylan would play guitar. And obviously the Beatles were influenced by Bob Dylan. And I wonder why. Maybe, again, it's because of his authenticity. Maybe because he was playing with words just like John liked it. And he was telling stories just like Paul liked it. He was playing guitar just like George liked it. And he was smoking weed just like they all liked it. I don't know if you've seen that movie "I'm Not There," where a lot of people, actors play Bob Dylan, and there's that one part where Bob Dylan is smoking pot with the Beatles. They're not necessarily smoking pot; they're just dancing around, being goofy, because they obviously had smoked a bunch of pot, and they're all rolling on the grass and stuff like that. It's a small part of the movie. It's probably about 2 minutes or something, but it's just for me as a Beatle fan. I was like, oh, there it is. That's the story. Because apparently Bob Dylan ended up hanging out with the Beatles in New York. He went up to their room, and they just started, blazing up, right? And turned out that the reason why he just assumed that they smoked because in one of the songs when I get high, yeah, you got that something, again, Bob Dylan thought that they were saying, I get high. And obviously that's not what they were saying. But yeah, that's why he just assumed that they smoked. So that was actually the first time that Ringo had smoked, I think. I think that's what he said in the 1995 documentary. He said, and I laughed and I laughed and I laughed all night long. Anywho, so yeah, folks, I'm really jazzed about this documentary. But again, after so many years, we get the truth. Yeah, after so many years, we get the actual story. They were hanging out, drinking, smoking, playing music, having fun, being goofy. They went back to their old numbers, the ones that they wrote, and in John Lennon's what was it, foyer or whatever that thing's called, front porch or something, because they had the best acoustics. So they wrote a lot of the songs there. They had over 100. So they decided to go over them. And you hear them, and you're like, I don't know. But then in the end, they also brought up One After 909. And in fact, John makes a comment about, I love playing that when I was 18 or something like that. Yeah, so some of those numbers did come back from the old catalog, the original or the very first few songs they have written. So that was interesting, that they were looking for songs. It's like, hey, let's dig all the way back there. Maybe there's a few good ones. I love the way they start this first part. They start with "In Spite of All the Danger," which is the very first song that I think they recorded. It's just, I love that little scratchy sound of the record, and it starts ding 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 ding. Oh, I love that little intro. In spite of all the danger. Oh, wonderful. Check out Nowhere Boy as well. This is turning into a whole Beatle hour. Beatles here all the time. This is the only station where you'll find the Beatles. What was the name of that guy? The Beatles love them too. If you guys know it, just leave it in the comments or something. Yeah, there was a DJ that the Beatles just loved because he pumped. He was pumpy. He was just upbeat, and he would always play the Beatles. This is the Beatles station. Unlike those other guys from the. And don't forget what the Beatles have said. Bring your Beatle paraphernalia and Jesus, what is wrong with people? Seriously, again, emphasizing on the beauty that the United States has to offer, the richness. We have to find something wrong with it. Calling it jungle music and all that stuff. And now we have Christian rock, which is like, huh? After all of that, it's, Yeah. It's like, oh, if you can't beat him, join him. Yeah, well, thanks. After how many? Anyway, the point here is that no matter how much bullshit they talk about you, eventually the truth will come up. So don't worry. Be happy. If people are not talking shit about you, You're probably not doing anything. You're melting into the background, and yeah, everything's hunky dory. Everybody's happy with you, but guess what? You're not. Because as long as they're happy, it's because they have you where they want you. So, yeah, if you have dreams, if you have aspirations, if you have goals, do not share them. And if somebody happens to find out and they give you some shit, don't listen. Keep moving forward. And if people talk shit, don't listen. The truth will come out eventually, even after your death. Doesn't matter. I don't expect for my story to be the right story when it's told. I'll be dead and long and gone and dried up and turned into dust before, my story is fully told. Anyhow, that's the rub when it comes to walking your own path. Because for a lot of people it seems foreign, obviously. It seems weird, it seems strange that you're not doing things like everybody else, but I'm sorry, I had too many lifetimes. I sincerely tell you that I had too many lifetimes to do certain things that are just useless. To me, some certain things are just useless. It's a way to fill up time, to fill up the space, so you don't have to actually get to the real work, which is to become lighter. Get rid of all the crap that is holding us down, holding us back, making us heavy, making us resentful, angry, and just a ball of negativity. That's the stuff that needs to go away. It's not everybody else. That's the stuff that bugs you so much that you figure everybody else is responsible for it. No. You set the tone, buddy. You set the tone. It's not up to anybody else to make you happy. So if you're not making yourself happy right now because you think somebody's going to be unhappy because you're happy, oh boy. I only say that because that always happens to me. And I have to remind myself because it's part of the programming. You've been programmed to react that way, to enforce these ridiculous guidelines or rules that we have to follow. So what? So we stay melting into the background. We don't stand out. We don't literally. It's not necessarily standing out because a lot of people like to stand out these days. It's serving your purpose. Serving your purpose. I mean, imagine Paul McCartney being an accountant. John Lennon would probably just shot himself. I know it sounds crude, but imagine him as how he was. He was already very angry by all the injustices that he had already lived when he was young. I mean, you got to remember, none of his parents wanted him at first. That's, excuse my language, but that will fuck you up for the rest of your life. There's a VH1 made-for-TV movie about John Lennon and Paul McCartney meeting at the Dakota hotel, and just rapping, just talking, catching up, which it did happen a lot with them too. Again, they weren't at each other's throats. Maybe at one point, but not all the time. And there's a part where John is sitting there, just kind of like, he starts talking about his mom. It's like, just when I was getting closer to my mom, she goes and gets run over. And Paul is just listening because, that was the beautiful thing about Paul. He's so sensitive. He knows when to shut the fuck up and listen. And John says, I'm 35 years old and I still think that I did something wrong. That breaks my heart. Because you as a man, because, we're talking about someone who has to keep a certain stature, because all the other males will smell it and just make you into a mark. That's why he had to build that big, tough shell and be corrosive a lot of the times. John Lennon wrote Imagine because he was at a different... I mean, when you have been that hateful, you can't... You're like, where's the corner? Where's the stop? I need to get off of this train. So you're looking to be peaceful. That's why I think that he did mention something like that, that, he wasn't always that nice. But, he had to get that nice because he was sick of being sick. Because anger can literally make you sick. It could kill you. It's an acid that will just eat away your organs. Literally. This is no joke. Check out some of the documentaries on stress. In fact, there's one it's a Discovery documentary called Stress, a Silent Killer. And you have a biologist there that I love that guy. I respect him. He looks like the biggest hippie, but he's just a guy, again, that sees things differently because of how much time he spends in quietude, in silence. You'll see people like that, they speak very softly. They take their time in everything. Because as they spend time in silence, they understand and they acclimate, they adjust to the universal rhythm. And the universal rhythm is so subtle, so peaceful. Like I mentioned before, is neutrality. You're not there nor here. You're just, you're not there or over there, you're here and now. And it's eternal. Now is eternal. But see, we disconnect ourselves and we start looking ahead, forward. We're trying to decipher. And then the past creeps up because you're trying to decipher the future, and then the past says, hey, but you remember what happened the last time. And here now we're back at the past. And you just keep swinging back and forth from the future to the past and never notice the present until we get to the red light and go, I don't remember getting here. Something got you there. Your subconscious mind got you there. But another thing is, like, you have angels around you. I know I might think, Pancho, you're sounding like a fatty. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit because I feel them. I know they're there. I know that they leave signs when they're around. Birds, feathers, numbers, especially numbers, shapes. They let you know. If you learn the language of divinity, you can literally have a conversation with them. It's amazing. But that takes you slowing down and disconnecting from all of the outside. Because once you do that, you'll find a world of this internal universe that is bigger than any external material world that you might find yourself in. It's literally bigger than that. In fact, that world, that plastic that plastic world this the 3D, this superficial world. I hate to call it superficial, but it is, in fact, it is kind of like kind of like an illusion. Because if you think about it, if everybody is co-creating, because everybody is, they all have their stuff around. It's like literally walking into a big, well, I guess it is a world, but I mean, let's just make it more visually easy. You walk into a building and there's a lot of people that have a lot of stuff with them. Now, that doesn't make life. It's just that building with that stuff in it. The reason why I say these things is because I am the kind of person that needs needs a break. Oh, excuse me. Needs a break from being with a lot of people, because there's a lot of perceptions, there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of opinions, there's a lot of dialogues, there's a lot of vibes going around, and I have to pull myself away because it just becomes too loud. Like I can, I have to pull away so I can, what's the word? Get my bearings again. Okay? And in a way, it's kind of like, sorry for all that beeping. In a way, it's kind of a cleansing. You're kind of want to get rid of whatever latched on to your energy, because, we all are mirrors to each other, and so a lot of the times we're able to mirror the people that we hang out with or that we bump into, and some people that we just even pass, and now we're carrying their energy with us, and you get home, you're like, I don't know why I feel in such a bad mood, but I feel like killing somebody. And it's just this stuff that latches onto you that you need kind of a break. I'm going back. I always use analogies from movies and songs and things like that, because I think that's how you also receive a lot of information. It's these little messages that only mean something to you. I know it sounds crazy, but just bear with me. In the movies, in Star Wars, when C-3PO tells Luke Skywalker, I think if you don't need me, I think I will shut down so he can recharge. So that's basically what we do. I mean, I was a fitness trainer for, holy crap, like 20 some years. And once you start learning about it, you start to realize the human machine is it's amazing. Somebody really smart put it together. And the amazing thing is that the human is an ever learning machine. This is why you can never just stay in one spot. If you're doing it, you're wasting your flipping time. What are you doing? Get somewhere, do something, learn a new skill, something. But to just sit there in front of the boob tube and just kind of like vested away is just, it's too much comfort. You have to absorb. You're an ever learning machine. So when people tell me, that's what happens when you get old. Yeah, that's what happens when you stop learning. I know a lot of older people that are young and fresh, and they look, energized because they have projects, they have goals, they have still dreams. Because they figure, fuck, I'm not going to work now. Now I get to live my life. It's not so you can just sit and bitch and moan about, ain't that awful? Ain't that awful, these kids? Ain't it awful, these music? Ain't it awful, this the president, all that crap? It's like, shut the fuck up and do something with your life. Honestly. If you were busy working on yourself, you wouldn't have the time to be bitching about other people. Spreading gossip, again, like the gossip that they spread about the Beatles and things like that. They show in certain instances where they're reading their news about them, and they're like, oh, that's nice, and like, because it's like none of it is true. And, all these people talking about you like they know you. That's got to get annoying. So, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because it relates to all of us. Somebody's going to be talking shit about you, right? And is it going to do any good if you just sit there and get pissed about it? Absolutely not. Why? Because you got to watch out. You watch your own vibration. You got to watch your own. Again, you set the tone. Doesn't matter what they're saying. Let them swim in the muck. That's what they do. But if you're going to jump in the muck with them, boy, you're going to carry that weight? No. You got to be looking to feeling fine. Or just say nothing's going to change my world. I may be a day tripper, but, just let it be. Hey, Jude, could you, I want money. I could go all day. Hey, bulldog. Anyway, yes, I think I'm just gonna count my blessings and just hit the road, Jack. Yeah, because it's getting too long, and I think I'll talk about the next episode when it comes up again. I think it's probably gonna be next week. But if you're a Beatles fan, what the hell are you waiting for? Get to it. Go watch the show. It's amazing. It's beautiful. And Peter Jackson is, is the fifth Beatle. Everybody takes that position at one point. Yeah, it's he did a really good job. But Peter Jackson, I mean, the man he's like Guillermo del Toro, I mean, they're both they almost look alike. They're just beautiful guys that just are making just beautiful stories. And they're committed. They're so committed to giving you a painting, a picture that they see in their heads, and they want to do it their way, and they're going to show it to you, and you're going to love it because it's full of authenticity. That's the difference between BS and authenticity. If when you're hearing BS, I mean, if you're hearing something and it bothers you, and you're just saying, I don't know, this guy bugs me. And you might be thinking that about me, and that's also another thing that, maybe is something like maybe you're not ready for the message, you're already in a funk, And again, it's identifying why am I feeling this way. If oranges have orange juice and apples have apple juice, and when you squeeze them, that's what you get. What juice is coming out of me when life squeezes me, when my neighbor squeezes me, when that guy with the red hat is squeezing me, or that guy over there or my mom squeezing me, or my sister squeezing me, or whatever. Whoever's squeezing you and makes you feel like, I mean, it brings a reaction out of you. What juice is coming out of you? Is it anger? Is it disappointment? Is it doubt? Is you lashing out? If that's the case, brother, you have that stuff in you. And these people are triggering you identifying that you have this crap inside you. Yeah, you could point fingers at them and say, well, he got me this way. Yeah, but you had that in there. You had the anger in you, and you just needed somebody to point it out, basically, to bring it out of you. And if it's inside you, get rid of it. Get rid of it. How do you get rid of it? You got to work that shit out. It's an individual, work. It's that part of self-responsibility. Work out your shit so nobody has to put up with it. I mean, you don't want to be bothering other people with your bullshit. There's a lot of people out there that are just, they're so self-centered that they're literally adding more work and more stress to other people. Again, these people are lost cases. But then again, they're swimming in muck. This is the behavior. That's the behavior of, swine. I'm sorry to be so, but it is what it is. If you're dealing in muck, you're swine. You're worm. You crawl on your stomach on the muck. I don't want to be in the muck. You like the muck? Be in the muck. I'm going to stay away from the muck. So what I'm saying is that if you get somebody and they want to start something, walk away. Keep your vibration. Your ego's going to say, oh, you should have kicked his ass. Trust me. Walk away. If you put yourself one step ahead of everybody, what's going to happen is that you can see that if you bust this guy's mouth because he's telling you not to wear a mask or whatever, what's going to happen is that you're going to end up in jail. And there you're going to be thinking, oh shit, I should have stopped. So just think ahead. And see yourself in the future saying those words to yourself. Fuck, I should have stopped. I shouldn't have done that. Right? So before you do it, imagine it. Imagine what you're going to be feeling and what you're going to be saying to yourself. Right? You're going to be saying that. I shouldn't have done that. Somebody will poke at you to bring out the ugly side out of you. And then they're like, I don't know. Right? And then you feel like an idiot. And then you go, I shouldn't have done that. So stay one step ahead. And if you're so volatile that you know that you're not gonna be able to stop yourself, then you really need to be in silence. You really need to make some time to be in silence. I would suggest doing it before you go to bed. Spend like 10 minutes at least. Sit in your bed. A lot of people kneel, but hey, you do you, baby. But sit in your bed. Don't lay back yet because you're going to pass out. Sit in your bed and start thinking. Start with the air in your lungs for the day that you have lived. Start being grateful for something. And then you'll find another and another and another. Again, you set the tone, baby. You set the tone. So just start with one thing and use it to tone, and I swear to God, the whole universe will come and support you so you continue on that path. The angels will come and keep whispering words into your ear, saying more positive things. Yes, keep thinking this and that and that and that and that and that. And you pretty soon you're gonna have like 5,000 things that you're gonna be grateful for. Your vibration will be really high, and you go to bed so happy you'll wake up the same way. I promise you. And then it'll just be like that and like that every day from then on. You literally have a panel in front of you. If you think of your body or of your psyche or any, you have a panel and imagine lights, alarm systems that let you know there's something odd here. Address it. My neck hurts. Address it. Massage it. Be nice to yourself. Oh, my hip hurts. Massage it. Address it. Stretch. Be nice to yourself. I'm losing my sight. Address it. Start eating better, and so on and so forth, find out, do research and so on. Talk to your doctor or whatever, your therapist, your whatever. Again, these are alarm systems that are letting you know to do something about it. These are not aches and pains and just, this is what happens when you get old. Yeah, when you get old, if you don't address it, you keep getting more and more messages and you're not doing anything about it. That's not life. Do something about it. Work on yourself so nobody has to deal with you. That is the most unselfish thing you can do. And at the same time, you set the example for other people. And then the next generation won't be doing the stupid shit that the older generation is doing now, which is being a bunch of babies and just complaining about what they're not getting. Uh, the boomer generation, I swear to God, a lot of you guys are really, really amazing. But some of you are just like, just pedantic little brats. So if that's what's coming out of you, like right now, I'm gonna have to go meditate because I'm upset right now. I don't think that's gonna happen. What's that in the Goodbye Girl or something when he says, "Now I'm gonna go meditate my frustration against you." I don't think that's gonna happen. Okay. Anywho, I'm just gonna say goodbye, and so I can talk to you guys later. So you guys don't next time you see one of my videos and go, "Oh fuck!" But these videos are so long. All right. I'll try to keep it short. Anyway, so now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. MIC. See you real soon. KEY. Why? Because we like you. MOUS. Everybody. Bye bye. Have a wonderful day.